Hi Andy, welcome to Truly Tarot. This video is just for you. Before any tarot reading, particularly remote readings, I try to make myself and my environment as relaxing as possible because I find it's much easier to listen to an inner voice, as it were. I played some soft music in the background, lit some incense, got into a relaxed pose, and called upon spiritual entities that have the most loving intentions for both humanity and the animal kingdom. The reason I included the animal kingdom is because my young cat Misty jumped onto my lap and placed her paw on my right wrist, so perhaps she also is involved in this message for you. I then requested my loving, well-intended spirit guides, cherished ancestors and spiritual protectors help me using my tarot cards to convey any message that you need to know so that you may live according to your most uplifting and positive path. However, one message came through whilst I was meditating, that of taking care of your hands. This is a 5-card horseshoe spread known for its succinct, versatile and insightful tarot layout. Your spread was rather unusual given 2 cards jumped out on 2 positions. First of all, taking a look at your overall spread, I can see that all of your cards are in the minor arcana. The minor arcana are the cards that are numbered that sit inside a suit of cups, swords, pentacles or wands, and they sit outside the major arcana, which are a series of archetypal cards such as the Lovers or the Hierophant. Now, all stages of life are important, of course. However, some moments are more pivotal or meaningful than others and can be incredibly life-changing, like marriage, divorce, moving countries, having children and so on. The minor arcana are for the smaller moments, whereas the major arcana are for the larger, more meaningful moments. So because you have no major arcana, I would suggest that your life is fairly stable right now and that no huge changes are foreseen or are currently being lived through. Nonetheless, I think it's fairly important to check in with your energies every now and then to see what might come your way. The second observation is that you have 2 cups, 3 swords and 2 wands, which with a lack of pentacles can suggest your focus is not on money or working towards qualifications, or even tending to a garden, as odd as that sounds. The pentacles represent magic in life, you see, so cultivating the garden and helping flowers bloom is just as rewarding as being awarded a certificate or a pay rise. The third observation is that with more swords, your mental life is more dominant in learning or considering the knowledge that you hold, whilst the wands and the cups balance the need for creativity and expression versus the relationships you are bound with. In fact, I was getting the distinct impression that not everyone realises that your creativity is bringing you closer to yourself, and it might be rather healing. So, having summarised my overall observations, let's dive into the spread itself. In your present position, you had the 6 of Cups, and that's a time of being held in somewhat of a trance by your history, comfortable in the present and feeling rather safe in your memories. Being acutely aware that your history has shaped who you are and where you are today, this energy is steeped in sweet nostalgia, fond memories, and reconnecting with the positive past. Conversely, this card brings to mind the Greek myth of Orpheus and Eurydice, where Orpheus's deep love led him to retrieve his late partner from the underworld and lose her a second time by looking back into the past, which illustrates the power and danger of extended nostalgia past its natural expiry from the mind. Historically, this card also echoes the Renaissance period, a time of rediscovery and reverence for classical antiquity. An enjoyment of the way things were seemed quite pleasant to consider, but as with all developments, life has changed as a result of them. From a philosophical perspective, the 6 of Cups reminds us of the importance of understanding our past to better shape our present and future. Much like Santayana's adage, Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. The divine message here is to embrace this period of reflection with an open heart, understanding that these memories can provide wisdom and comfort to yourself and others as you navigate your current path. Don't spend too long on reflection though, because fixating on the past can also lead to neglect of your present or future plans. Make sure to review your past with gratitude and use its lessons to inform your present decisions. In the second position, which represents that which you expect to arise from your current situation, is the Knight of Swords reversed. A young knight, lacking in the experience of his senior kings and queens, but enthusiastic about life's challenges. Perhaps his bravery and skill lends him an air of fanatic strength, not knowing his limits. In the reversed position, could indicate either a doubt of one's abilities or a wild extreme where carelessness or impulsiveness is often the first course of action. But without careful consideration, this can also lead to recklessness. It brings to mind the myth of Icarus, who flew too close to the sun despite warnings, embodying the dangers of haste. From a historical perspective, this card can be seen in the context of the fall of the Roman Empire, where overexpansion and impulsive decisions led to decline. Their reach spread their full force so thin that cracks emerged. Philosophically speaking, this card also reminds us of the Stoic principle of temperance, urging caution and deliberate action. The divine message here is to slow down, consider all aspects, and avoid rash decisions. Much like Aristotle's notion of the golden mean, aim for balance and moderation. Take a step back, breathe, and let wisdom guide your actions to avoid unnecessary pitfalls. In the third position, which represents that which you don't expect but will occur as a result of your current situation, this is not to negate what is expected, but is to give you a little insight into where your energies may be heading. You actually had two cards fall into this position, giving a double meaning. The Seven of Wands reversed indicates feelings of being overwhelmed and being indecisive, but paired with the Ten of Cups upright promises an emotional peak of happiness as a result of it. The two cards, Seven of Wands and the Ten of Cups, combines mythology and history in a unique way. This duality can be likened to Hercules' labours, where initial overwhelming challenges eventually led to great triumphs and divine favour. Historically, this reflects the journey of explorers like Columbus, who faced immense struggles but ultimately found new worlds. And philosophically, this card combination reminds us of Nietzsche's idea that what does not kill us makes us stronger. The divine message here is to trust that even in the face of anxiety or difficulties, you will find a way to overcome them and achieve peace and fulfillment. The gods are guiding you towards a joyous outcome, much like the promise of Elysium for the worthy. Another way of looking at it, that seems far less extreme than those grandiose reflections, is that pursuing the goal of expressing yourself creatively may bring certain truths to light, which allow you to forgive yourself and heal from old wounds. This, in turn, will restore your confidence in relationships, either with yourself or with others. In the fourth position, which represents the immediate future, anytime within, say, 3 months, you have the Two of Wands, which symbolises planning and decision-making, but also a distinct experience of discontentment. Sensing that you have already sealed your fate with past decisions. Of course, this isn't true because we always have choice, and if there's one constant in life, it's change. This card evokes the mythological journey of Odysseus, or Ulysses as he was known in Roman mythology. He plotted his return home to Ithaca following the fall of Troy with careful deliberation, and is said to have taken him a whole decade. This to me seems indicative of the time it takes to prepare for long journeys and safeguards against potential perils. Quite apt for you, Andy, given your history and safety. Reflecting on history, This energy can also be compared to the age of exploration, where pioneers like Portuguese Ferdinand Magellan planned their voyages into the unknown, and surprisingly he was able to succeed in circumnavigating the Earth for the very first time in the 16th century. I suspect that what propelled him forward was a sense of boredom or apathy, spurring him on to embark on something more fulfilling. On a simpler note, as the philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre said, "Man is condemned to be free because you are responsible for everything you do," meaning, of course, that you have the power to shape your future through your choices. Finally, the 5th position in the Horseshoe Tarot spread represents the long-term future. Now, this could be any time next month or within 6 months, but is where the energies are headed. This is the second spot where you had 2 cards fall out. The first card was the 4 of Swords, which signifies a state of rest and recuperation at its best, a sign of withdrawal at its worst, combined with the 7 of Swords, which usually suggests deceit. The myth of Endymion comes to mind, supposedly granted eternal sleep by his beloved Selene, the goddess of the moon. This sleepy energy is contrasted with the trickery of Loki, the Norse trickster god, whose main source of power comes from metamorphosis and shapeshifting. This card combination could mean that you need to withdraw from those who hurt you and heal yourself whilst in your own space by experimenting with different identities. On the other hand, it could also mean that you don't understand why you are withdrawing and will need an outside force to wake you from your initial thoughts. Philosophically, this energy aligns with the idea of cogito ergo sum by Descartes, where reflection and introspection are essential for self-awareness, but also warns of self-deception. Essentially, Descartes was insistent on doubting everything we think to be true. This wasn't just a skeptical mindset for the sake of it. It was a method of testing reality and the truth we live with. In other words, living within our own thinking landscape can be deceiving, as can living within someone else's. The divine message here is to take time for yourself to rest and recover, because it's hugely important to recharge with your own practice of inward reflection. However, remember to be honest with yourself, and when operating day to day, remain vigilant against potential dishonesty in others. Lastly, don't believe everything you read. In summary, your tarot spread suggests a journey guided by the divine, beginning with reflection and nostalgia like Orpheus's longing. Be cautious against impulsiveness akin to Icarus's fall, but trust in the promise of overcoming challenges for ultimate happiness, much like Hercules' triumphs. Embrace a period of important decision-making with the wisdom of Athena and the explorers of history, and understand the need for rest coupled with vigilance, as reflected in myths and historical cycles. Your path is illuminated by divine messages guiding you towards enlightenment and joy, with the philosophical reminder that introspection, balanced action, and awareness are key to navigating life's journey. So, Andy, I hope this was useful for you. Sometimes it's good to reflect on history and philosophical aspects of life and loss. At the very least, you should feel a sense of love and luck, having navigated life's journey thus far. Thank you for listening. My voice was yours truly.